if you've been monitoring anti-vax circles or watching news or interacting with them, you may have run across this particular line or this specific piece of misinformation. That is the claim that the SARS-CoV-2 virus, the virus that causes COVID-19, has not been isolated. Now, what I like about this piece of misinformation is how easy it is to fact check and debunk it. If you type in COVID-19 isolated into Google, it will send you right to the CDC page where they explain how the virus was isolated. Right at the top of the page, SARS-CoV-2, the virus that causes COVID-19, was isolated in the laboratory and is available for research by the scientific and medical community. If you are a university or a virus researcher, you can get samples of the virus directly from the CDC. At the bottom of the page, there's even a timeline of how the virus was isolated by the CDC. Quote, on January 20th, 2020, CDC received a clinical specimen collected from this first reported U.S. patient infected with SARS-CoV-2. CDC immediately placed the specimen into cell culture to grow a sufficient amount of virus for study. On February 2nd, the CDC generated enough virus grown in cell culture to distribute to medical and scientific researchers. On February 4th, the CDC shipped SARS-CoV-2 to the BEI Resources repository. If that's not enough for you, the CDC even links to a scientific paper in which they detail the process of isolating the virus and list all the people and all the researchers who were involved in isolating the virus. In the methods section, they explain the virus isolation process in specimen collection. Clinical specimens from a case patient who acquired COVID-19 during travel to China and who was identified in Washington, USA, were collected as described. Nasopharyngeal and oropharyngeal swab specimens were collected on day 3 post-system onset and placed in vials for transport. Cell culture limiting dilution and virus isolation. We use Vero cells for isolation and initial passage, blah, 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 blah. The entire process is there with the chemicals they used, the solutions they used, the quantities they used. All that information is right there for everybody to know. And then they get into how they sequenced the virus. So anyone who in August of 2021 is telling you that the virus is not being isolated is simply lying to you. The virus was isolated way back in January of 2020, the beginning of 2020, almost 2 years ago.